More controversy and suspicions within the Jay Slater case. Also call it, if you want to, part 4 of the review of the now infamous MWT podcast. We've all been pulling this podcast apart for not being thorough. The phone calls, just phone calls. Not really kind of interviews, but not face-to-face interviews. So let's delve straight in. Lucy, she called the Guardian just about on the dot of the disappearance of Jay. Jay sending her a text of his location. Wouldn't you want the Guardian to go straight to the location? The authorities? She said she made that call and they kept ending the call. Should the Guardian be prosecuted by the authorities, the powers that be, the international police, the British police, whoever is in charge and governs, who governs the foreign police forces, or are they a law unto themselves? Pull up a chair, grab a drink, you can drink water, carry on working, switch the volume up, and welcome to Aldon's Reviews and True Crime. So a fair bit of difference of opinion on this one from viewers, creators, which is fine. We won't get nasty because someone has a difference of opinion. There are going to be the feuds. I do understand that. I don't want to get involved, as I've said before. And am I? I don't know. Everybody's neutral. I'm kind of not neutral, but as near as you can get it. Am I friendly with the witnesses? Am I friendly with the family? Am I friendly with the different groups that they have within this case? Maybe so. Whatever. We just need to focus on what happened, the facts and the truth. What's evidence and what's not evidence. The Lucy part, she phoned the Guardian. Now, some are saying the Guardian followed the correct procedure. They told her to fill out an online form. They had to wait 24 hours before Jay was classed as a missing person. That's not an emergency. But was it Lucy's fault? So was it Lucy's fault? Should she have said there are knives going missing? Jay's fearing for his life. Did she say that? Did she say there was controversy, something got stolen? Or didn't she want to drop people in it? Was that why she didn't say anything? She thought, well, this is an emergency accident, go and find him, he's missing. They used the correct procedure. But I don't think they knew. If they knew whether it was possible alleged criminal behaviour and his life was in danger, certainly the British police and the Guardian really will go straight to his location. There's the location pin. He fears for his life. Something got stolen, whether that was rugs or a watch. Something happened. Would they? I think they would have done. So why didn't you, Lucy, or did you? Why didn't you mention all this? That's what we're trying to find out, the surrounds of what happened surrounding Jay passing away. That's what we want to find out. That's what the inquest is all about. That's why an investigation will probably be called, I would have thought. It's got to be called now. There is too much public interest involved. There are too many suspicions. I put up a poll of how much the police know and how much we know online. We're not just making it up. We've had certain texts, videos from the friends involved, from the actual witnesses themselves, information that's come through. We've looked at body language. We know what's going on. So do we know more than the police? I think we do. Some people don't think that's the case. You can look at my polls on my community page. There are lots of them. Please vote if you can. They are anonymous, and you can put down in the comments if you want to. You can use a different name if you want to. Some people do that. And put down your point of view. It's about point of views, isn't it, at the moment? But it's also about the authorities doing their job. Why? Why aren't you, police, Guardia, why aren't you doing your job? If Lucy would have come clean to the Guardia, say what was going on at the time, it would have been more of a criminal matter. So it would have been immediate, surely. Surely somebody's fearing for his life, which he was. And he took the 2 knives away. There was a Snapchat picture. Surely they're not just going to say, oh, he's fearing for his life. Oh, something was stolen. Oh, it involved money. I'll wait 24 hours, go online, put this down, wait 24 hours, and then we'll be out in 24 hours. No, not the way it works. It's kind of bad enough if somebody goes missing in less than 24 hours. I don't know, maybe not. Bradley, you went missing. This was eyewitnesses. This is what Ahab said. So can we say it's factual? You went missing for 5 hours. You went missing first. They were worried about you. Was it first or afterwards? I don't know. So why didn't you mention that in your interview? You didn't. You didn't mention anything really, did you, around that? Isla, good-looking lady. I like good-looking ladies as much as the next man. But Isla, come on. Come on. You're sticking up for Bradley and you're saying that he wasn't hiding anything. Well, he was, because he went missing for 5 hours. He hid things about the rugs. Whether it was Jay or Brad running off with some rugs. Back to Lucy for a little bit. Why did she start the GoFundMe with a specific amount? And did Rachel have something to do with it as well? So was it Bradley who stole, or was it Jay? Were they trying to pay back the person? Was this after Jay went missing? Just after Jay went missing? So she starts the GoFundMe, specific amount, find him. It was odd, very odd. A lot of explaining on the GoFundMe. I won't talk about that again. Most creators have talked about that one. So why a specific amount? Was it to pay back the stolen, just to smooth it over? Yeah. I think so, possibly. So that needs to be opened up, the inquest as well. I've rewritten my questions. I'm holding them back because there's going to be rewrites. And the podcast and the release of the phone calls added rewrites. And yeah, the witnesses were covering up and were lying. And we know that. We do know that because Brandon was on there. Brandon was on there saying that he didn't know Ihab and he didn't know Stephen Rockus. Yeah, denied it.
I don't really know. I don't know them at all. I've seen them a few times in Sugar Race.
So tell me what their names are.
I don't know what the names are. I don't know the names. I know one of them is nicknamed Johnny or something like that. But I don't know the other fella. But I don't even know his name. It begins with R or something like that.
If they are telling me the truth, then neither of them know the 2 black men, other than through social media, and the 2 men have now deactivated their accounts. In contact with Ayub.
Ayub?
Yeah.
Who is Ayub? Ayub?
But he did know them. So why do you think? Is that suspicious? Of course it's suspicious. Not naming them. If they didn't do anything wrong, you'd say, oh yeah, it was Joe Bloggs and so, yeah, went up. And you'd add to it, you'd say, yeah, completely innocent. They just took him up there just because they wanted to. Leading me on. I've already said, yeah, Ahab, friendly with you. I already said, slag Mark Williams-Thomas off for saying that you were, at the time, still heavily involved in dealing. Asked him for evidence, further evidence. He shut that down because he said to you, oh, it doesn't matter what you've done. I'm just interested in what happened to Jay. He said to let that go. So perhaps you opened up to him. I don't know. But he seems to think that you were dealing, and you are dealing still, he thinks. Well, certainly at the time. But it still remains that, in my view, you wouldn't book, let's say it was dated, and I'm old-fashioned. I have stayed in those places before. It was dated from the usual places that you were staying. So you would have stayed near the strip, near what you were doing. You were interested in Big Nasty's concert. You said you weren't interested in the J-type festivals, but you were, because you did go, and you said you didn't, but you did. So you said, you wanted the views and something about quad biking with two Manchester girls who will hopefully be at the inquest, quad biking up a mountain or something or other. No, you wouldn't book an hour away. It would be an inconvenience. If I was going for a certain lot of concerts, festivals on that strip, I would not book an hour away. And you would limit in the time. You said, I could do it in half an hour in the car and everything. No, it was a long way away. You wouldn't normally do that. You wouldn't book a dated apartment, Airbnb. You wouldn't book it. You would book a nice plush like you used to in Dubai. You're used to more plush accommodation. Rocky booked somewhere else. I don't know if you did book somewhere else, but you booked the Airbnb in a different name. Apparently, whether somebody else booked it for you, apparently it was you in a different name. So that was highly suspicious why you booked up there. Mark Williams Thomas has already said he was suspicious and you were doing your illegal activities up there, storing something in the Airbnb, whether that was rugs or watches, who knows. So this has to come out of the inquest, certainly, and the investigation. What they normally do, they normally ask for proof of income. You might say, that's nosy. No, in those circumstances, they ask for proof of income, tax returns, etc. You might put something across that's not. People generally put something across that's not true anyway, and say, they're doing this. But yeah, they get to that and then ask exactly what you're doing with the construction work on the railway or something or other. I don't know whether you're doing nights, whether it's physical work or manual work, what you're doing with the cryptocurrency. They'll open that up as well. So they'll look at that. They want receipts of what you do for a living. So Brandon, it does need to be asked at the inquest why you lied about knowing Ahab, etc. So I don't want to give away questions, which I have, because the witnesses are going to have time to prepare. So I've done a list. There's an awful lot of other questions anyway on there, whether they get around to asking them or not, or whether they bother looking at any other creators that have sent information off. Duncan sent information off and questions, and he'll update that as well, whether they look at that or just rip it and throw it in the bin. Presumably what they think of content creators, they might rip it and throw it in the bin. They had a list of witnesses in order. They must have done preliminary investigations, not like we've done, thorough investigation. I don't know, do I call it investigation? I don't know. Preliminary investigation. They must have done some of that, so presumably they're digging a bit further, but how much, I don't know. If they're going off MWT, they're not going to get very far, because Mark, you weren't very thorough. When you went there for 3 days, it's not enough time. That's why you didn't have time to speak to them face to face, and they were probably gone before you got to them. So you had to do phone calls, which isn't good because you don't get the body language, etc., from the witnesses. So you were just going around visiting the Airbnb, as people do. Warren did. Then just asking questions. Probably didn't know who to ask questions to, really. So, yeah. But it'd be interesting to see what the witnesses say. Rachel Brad, as we know now, is involved in going off missing. This is from fact, isn't it? He went off missing for 5 hours or more. And he possibly stole something when he got out of the car. They're all in the car together. This wasn't mentioned by Lucy or anyone else the night before or on the evening of the search. So there was quite a big gap there between Jay going missing at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning to night time, and when there was this search. There was also rockets going on the night before, as Ahab said, whatever rockets meant. Normally means idiots. There are a lot of idiots the night before, and it was all kicking off. So something happened the night before. So that involves the other witnesses of LK, the guy that was in the car, the sunroof, and anyone else that was involved or there at the time that was involved in with these other they're ex-criminals, but again I'm not pointing at that as being well, it's a little bit suspicious, but I'm not pointing fingers at anyone. They were ex-criminals. LK was. Don't know who the other guy was he an ex-criminal as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if he was. Oh, and a prologue. You don't have to watch this, but little Brucey bonus. It's Rosie. Hello Rosie, how are you today? We had a great Father's Day, didn't we, yesterday? And you got me a card, and you got me a big cup with Dad on it. It was great, wasn't it? And we had Daddy had a run event, didn't he? And we went to the beach, and we went to see my dad, didn't we? Good time. So Rosie's enjoying herself. It's a bit warm today, isn't it, for you? So she says goodbye. Say goodbye, Rosie. Say goodbye. Bye for now. Thank you for watching.